Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here again with another first listen review. This one was the one I was really excited about this week. I've been actually looking forward to it ever since I heard about its release a few weeks ago. It is the new release from Steven Wilson called the Harmony Codex. For anybody who's not familiar with Steven Wilson, he's probably most notably known for being a member of the Porcupine Tree, or just Porcupine Tree. They had an album that actually came out last year, a reunion album, kind of. They hadn't made one in quite a while. Nobody ever thought they were going to make another album. They actually came back out of the blue and made one last year, which I really enjoyed that album a lot. I really enjoy Steven Wilson's solo stuff. Except for the last one he had out, it was not one of my favorite ones. So I was kind of wondering how this one was going to go. He's got really a cool solo stuff, which is I think is a lot different from the Porcupine Tree stuff. He's also very involved in a lot of the remixing and of all these box sets that have come out from different bands. Like most recently, The Who was the one I just got, and he's done some work with Yes, Gentle Giants, Jethro Tull. He's done a lot of that stuff. He's probably tons of bands I'm forgetting here, and I really like what he does. So I was really excited to get this album, and you're never really exactly sure what you're going to get with him anymore. You kind of semi know what it's going to be like, but yeah, you're always a little bit surprised when you hear stuff. The last one had me a little bit nervous about this one because I didn't care for like a lot of the stuff on the last one. I don't ever hate anything, but there's a few songs on the last one that just didn't resonate with me very well. So going to this one, I was excited because I'd heard a lot of stuff about people going to these listening events that he had done where he had rented out halls or rooms or whatever and done a mix specifically for that listening only in an Atmos remix. And I'm not going to go and explain what all that is, but it's a very expanded surround sound type of listening experience. You'd have to actually look up to get, do some research on it to understand what it really is. But that's like the quick explanation of it. And, I don't have an Atmos setup, so I could just put that on the headphones and go for the regular stereo mix, which is what I got. And going into this, it started out with a cool little vibe going. The first few minutes of the song were just kind of like the first song there were kind of like I don't even know how to explain it. That's one good thing though. When it's hard to explain the music, it's actually a good thing. But it had a little bit of a Middle Eastern type feel, and then the weird thing was it kind of like stopped. I thought something was wrong. There's like this dead silence, and then it comes back in with him singing, and then the song picks back up again. And the guitar playing in this one was like really cool. I really like that. I don't know the guitar player before this. His name is David Collar, and it's got some cool like vocal thing. The solo sounded almost like a mixture of a guitar solo and singing. It was really weird. It was very cool though. I really enjoyed that. And of course he's got Nanette Tayeb on here. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I love her voice. He's worked with her in the past on some stuff, and some of my favorite stuff he's done is actually with her. She actually wrote a song on this too, and I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm saying this name right either, but Rodham Wilson. Who knows if I always get names wrong, so who knows if that's pronounced right, but they're all over this album, and it's very cool. I'll point out, like right from the start here, there's a lot of singing on this album, but it's a lot of singing without words, and so it's just like voices, just doing melodies, and there's a lot that's just pure vocal, and there's a lot that's very processed vocal, where he takes the vocals and just does all kinds of stuff with the vocal itself and processes them and makes them like a completely different instrument. I actually saw a little bit of interviews with him on this, and he showed a little bit of how he had done this on a few of the songs, and thought it was really cool. So I was really interested, or piqued my interest, I should say. I'm probably not going to go through every single song on here, but there's a few songs that are just normal length, but nothing on here is like, structured like a pop song. This album is more meant to be listened to as a whole. There's a few shorter songs, a couple longer 10-minute songs, but the whole album is kind of like flows, ebbs and flows, I mean, there's not like, I wouldn't sit down and just pick out songs on this. And I didn't listen to anything ahead of time. I didn't listen to any of the singles. I wanted to just like hear how this album flows, because I think in my experience with him, this is generally how he writes albums. Although there's been a couple. Well, the last one, it was more for singles, but his albums always have like a cool flow to them. He actually really puts a lot of thought and process into how the songs are supposed to run, and I always think he does a really good job with that. A couple other things I'll point out in here that it was sort of promoted as being this big soundscape album with lots of different textures, and which his music always has. And I didn't feel as there was I probably built it up in my head more than what it should have been, and sometimes that's a thing that we do. We build something up to be bigger than what it is. So I was expecting a lot more in the textures. There just wasn't as much as I expected, but that's not saying that there wasn't a lot. There's a lot of cool. He's got some different areas in the album where there's some the sound effects like birds and stuff in the background, and I think if there was actually more texture to it, like I was expecting, it would have taken away from it. So the songs like Impossible Tightrope actually was probably, I think that's the longest one on here. It's actually probably my favorite one. And I know that was released as a single, but I didn't listen to it. But that one actually has some cool guitar play, and just that one really ebbs and flows. It got some really good bass work in there as well. I did want to point out that earlier in the album, I think, what song was that? It was What Life Brings. It's actually one of the shorter songs. It's got Guy Pratt playing bass on it. It's also got Craig Blundell playing on that one, but Guy Pratt is the like a bass player that I really look up to. He's done a lot of work with Pink Floyd, and it's kind of funny that he gets compared to Pink Floyd-ish type stuff a lot. So I thought it was kind of funny that that's their touring bassist that they've been working with for years and years and years. He had playing on this song. There's like a cool like electric piano solo in that song I was just talking about there, and some saxophone going on. It almost reminded me a little bit of like early or mid 70s King Crimson type stuff. I thought it was pretty cool. And then it gets to the Ninette song. I really hope I'm pronouncing that name right. I've actually checked out some of her stuff. I don't have any of her albums. I looked up a lot of her stuff on YouTube, but she's just got such an amazing voice. Really, really good. She actually wrote the song, and just you can tell that Steven has his like fingerprint all over this album, and it just has those big textures, and I don't know, that was really good. Just even the fact that he didn't write it but made it sound like his, and of course she sings all over this one. It's a duet, and they just sound amazing together. The song after that, Beautiful Scarecrow, is cool. It's got a solo by a doo-duck, I guess is what the album's called, but that's Theo Davis is the guy that's playing on that one. He I don't really understand what that instrument is, but it sounded cool in this album, in the song. I mean, I don't even know how to explain that one, but you gotta check that one out. It's probably like those might be like those three right in a row there might be my favorites on this whole thing. And then it gets. I'm just gonna skip down through here a little bit. There's the song Time or Actual Brutal Facts. It's just kind of like a spoken word type thing. I heard a couple people explain it as the rap song. I did not get that vibe from this at all, so that was good. I was a little bit worried about that, I'm going to be honest. It's definitely has a cool rhythm and a good flow, and it's kind of whisper spoken type stuff on there. It said that there was a little bit of a melody to it there, and even in the whisper speaking, I thought it was really cool. It didn't sound like rap at all to me, so I was very pleasantly happy with that. And then the other thing about the last song, it just kind of it didn't seem like it had a defined ending to it. It just kind of like faded, and just kind of there it was, and all of a sudden it was over. And so I was like, okay, well, that's a different way to end something. I mean, it just there was like, it just seemed like there should have been like something more defining to it, but it just kind of like didn't like fade out. It just kind of like, okay, we're done, see ya, bye. I was like, okay, all right, well, that's a weird thing. That's got some cool Moog sounds going on in that song, and a lot of different textures. I mean, I guess now that I'm running through it and actually reading through it, there are a lot of different instrumentations, and there were a lot of different instruments you wouldn't normally hear combined together. A lot of electronic, as always, involved in the stuff. Some great guitar playing in here. There's a couple sections where there's some amazing bass playing. It just, the really strong, precise bass playing. Sometimes bass gets buried back a little bit, and you don't get to hear a lot of what's going on with bass guitar, which always bums me out because I really love the rhythm and the feel and the foundation of the song. And there's a couple points in here where he brings the bass up to the forefront and gives them a little bit of a solo spot. And that was something I really enjoyed about all this. So definitely going to give this one a few more listens. Really, really enjoyed it. I shouldn't have gone in this with any expectations because it didn't even come close to what I was thinking it was going to sound like, which is, a good thing actually, because it means I was still inspired and surprised by what he put out. And I really enjoyed this a lot better than his last album. I am not going to rank it up there quite as high as maybe some of his earlier work, because I haven't given it enough time. It hasn't, his music takes a little bit, I think, to soak in, and you just got to absorb, and it's got to be. It's a grower. I guess that's what I'm saying. A lot of albums are like that. I think this is going to be one like that. There wasn't anything on here that I hated at all. I really liked it. It's got its own vibe, different from his earlier stuff, and I think it's going to take a few more listens. So anybody out there should, that's checked it out, feel free to give your, feelings on what you thought of this one or what you think of Steven Wilson. I've wrapped this one up as best I could. He's really hard to describe. This was a really hard to describe album, so hopefully I did a good job on it and gave you guys maybe the taste of whether you wanted to go check it out yourselves or not. But anyway, as always, like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff, and we'll talk to you on the next one. See you.